So, I haven't looked into this kind of stuff in a while, but there's been some weird happenings around the world lately. For example, the potential that the human species may have been around a lot longer than we initially thought, based on these monolithic structures that we previously suspected to be about 4,000 years old, are now suspected to be a lot older. Ancient civilizations talking about groups of men that came to their countries and brought civilization, astronomy, and agriculture, and lately all these world mysteries have been occupying a lot of my time. So there I was over at a friend's house, just hanging out, having myself a good day, when my friend looks over at me and says, "I gotta show you this video, dude, you're not gonna believe this." Now maybe you've seen this video before, and if you have, you probably know what this video is gonna be about. Normally I don't touch these kinds of strange videos, but I haven't seen a lot of people talking about this, and those that do take the situation a bit too far. So I wanted to watch through this with you guys today and see what the hell might be going on with this ceremony. Now first things first, let's talk about what this actually is. In 2016 Switzerland, the world's largest and deepest tunnel was built, spanning 35.4 miles and 1.4 miles deep. There was a lot of hype around this tunnel, being as it passes through the Swiss Alps and makes the journey from Switzerland, Germany, Italy, and France a lot quicker. The strange part about this tunnel was the opening ceremony, which didn't take too long as I was watching it to realize that this was a bit weird. Now, I'm not going to go through the entire ceremonies, that would take over an hour, but I have a few bullet points and spots in the videos that I'd like to discuss, and if you're curious, I'll leave the links to the full thing in the description and you can make your own judgments on this. So first things first, this ceremony was put on in Switzerland for the opening of the tunnel. World leaders from all over Europe, mostly leaders from Germany, France, and Italy were invited, which makes sense being as that's who this tunnel would affect most, but it also seemed to spook a lot of people and I can kinda understand why once it gets going. One thing to note, before the ceremony began, the tunnel was blessed by a priest, and then right after that, this satanic display arose. So the first thing we have here is a large group of people walking into the center of the tunnel almost like they're dazed or under the control of the music. The way they walk has been likened to a zombified state by pretty much anyone who did touch on this video. Now, the first part of this isn't so bad. Just a choreographed dance put on by people dressed up as construction workers. Sure, the music's a bit dark, but overall nothing too weird yet. At about 5 minutes in, the construction workers become a bit manic, like they don't know what they're doing. And then right after that, this last train car brings in a group of people who are dressed in more revealing clothing, and accompanying them is what most have identified as a fallen angel, which is apparently an angel that disobeyed God and became corrupt. I know this seems like a bit of a stretch, but once the ceremony really gets going, there's absolutely no confusion here on this. There's even a scene in here that may even be an imagining of the fallen angel corrupting people. After this, another card is rolled in with what people refer to as demonic creatures, and then with them is a goat man, who typically represents Satan in ancient scribbles. As I was watching through this with my friend, the thoughts in my head were, all of this for a tunnel? But don't worry, it gets a lot stranger than this. At around 14 minutes, we see this goat is being worshipped, and people are bringing him offerings of trees, which I guess are upside down trees? Now I never knew this, but apparently this symbolizes an upside down cross, or the tree of death, which really does fit the theme here. When I was watching this part and thinking about it artistically, I imagined that maybe this was supposed to be some depiction of hell or a dark world or something like that. Right after that though, this man gets on a stage and sings in gibberish, and he even speaks in gibberish. It's kind of like he's calling for Satan, and Satan does respond. Right after that, the man who is singing sits down and watches everyone around him start celebrating, possibly celebrating the arrival of Satan? There are a few who speculate that the red lights in here are supposed to represent a blood sacrifice, but that's not really clear to me, at least until they take the severed head of a woman and lift it above the dancers. The silk that falls from her head seems to represent that she was decapitated, as though it's blood. The severed head is then put on a body of a woman, and the first train makes its way through the tunnel. Now, if that was it, fine. It's freaking strange, but the next half of this display actually takes place outside. This is the part that was kind of odd to me. I mean, fine, you made art, cool, but to sit everyone down inside the tunnel, and then put on half of the performance, and then to have everyone move outside to complete it? I mean, that's just a lot of effort over a tunnel opening ceremony, right? I mean, most of these things are as simple as cutting a ribbon, crowd cheers, and now the tunnel's open and everyone can go on about their day, but whatever, let's move on to the second part.